We feel a particular responsibility, as the UK is a signatory to the 1994 Budapest Memorandum, which provided Ukraine with security guarantees. This premeditated invasion, in violation of international law and multiple international commitments, cannot succeed. Putin must lose. We are doing everything we can to stop him and to restore Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. We will do this by backing Ukraine against unjustified aggression, by degrading the Russian economy and stopping it funding Putin's war machine, and by isolating Putin on the world stage. First of all, we're backing Ukraine with defensive weapons, humanitarian aid and economic support. The UK was the first European nation to send defensive weapons to the country. Those weapons are being used today to halt Russian tanks and defend Ukrainian towns and cities. Our latest consignment of defensive support left Brize Norton over the weekend. We're also leading on humanitarian support. Yesterday, my right honourable friend, the Prime Minister, announced a further £40 million of humanitarian aid. This will provide Ukrainians with access to basic necessities and vital medical supplies. We call on Russia to enable humanitarian access and safe passage for civilians to flee the violence. The UK is also supporting Ukraine's economy, including through £100 million of ODA and guarantees of up to $500 million in development bank loans. Secondly, we are cutting off funding for Putin's war machine. We're coming together with the US, the G7 and the EU to take further decisive steps. We've been joined by Australia, Singapore, Switzerland and many more. There is a growing list of countries who are determined that this aggression cannot stand. We've agreed many Russian banks will be removed from the SWIFT system, kicking them out of international finance. This is the first step towards a total SWIFT ban. Our collective action against Russia's central bank will prevent them from deploying their international reserves to mitigate the impact of our sanctions. We're also launching a joint task force to hunt down the assets of oligarchs hit by our sanctions. The UK is proud to lead by example. We've already put in place the largest package of sanctions in our history. We've sanctioned Putin and Lavrov, Russia's defence industry, and a growing list of oligarchs. We've approved asset freezes on several Russian banks. We're banning Russian airlines and private jets from our airspace. But we are determined to go much, much further. We want a situation where they can't access their funds, their trade can't flow, their ships can't dock, and their planes can't land. Today, I can inform the House I will be laying 2 new pieces of sanctions legislation. The first introduces a set of new powers against Russia's financial sector. It includes powers to prevent Russian banks from clearing payments in sterling. With over 50% of Russian trade denominated in dollars or sterling, our coordinated action with the United States will damage Russia's ability to trade with the world. And as soon as this legislation comes into force, we will apply it to Sberbank, Russia's largest bank. I will also be imposing a full asset freeze on 3 further banks: VEB, Russia's National Development Bank; Sovcombank, the 3rd largest privately owned financial institution in Russia; and Ozkriter, one of Russia's largest commercial banks. We will bring in a full asset freeze on all Russian banks in days, looking to coordinate with our allies. This same legislation will prevent the Russian state from raising debt here, and it will isolate all Russian companies, that's over 3 million businesses, from accessing UK capital markets. Global giants like Gazprom will no longer be able to issue debt or equity in London. The second piece of legislation will ban exports to Russia across a range of critical sectors. This includes high-end technological equipment such as microelectronics, marine and navigation equipment. This will blunt Russia's military-industrial capabilities and act as a drag on Russia's economy for years to come. I appreciate the consequences of this step for British people and British businesses operating in Russia, and the Department of International Trade and the Treasury will offer advice and guidance to affected UK businesses. My consular staff will continue to support British nationals in Russia, as well as those in Ukraine. And we will keep ratcheting up our response.